Hey, happy Pride Month! Do you have a Pride icon for your social media yet? Would you like to get one while supporting wonderful charities? Then be sure to check out hashtag PrideAndKindness22. For as low as $5, you can donate to charities that support LGBTQ causes, as well as pick yourself up a wonderfully drawn piece of art by the artist running and giving their time to this group. If you're interested, be sure to check out the description for links to their Twitter, or check out their Discord server for more information. Anyways, on to today's topic. Heyo everyone, me should be barking here. Happy Pride Month! It's June, which means being gay is acceptable for corporations for exactly one whole month before they go back to being able to fire us for our gender or sexuality before blaming it on other reasons so we can't legally fight against it. On top of that, it's also the month for individuals within the LGBTQ spectrum to be proud of who they are. This includes me. I've mentioned it before in quite a bit, but I'm gay and came out as such in fall of 2021 at the wonderful age of 24. Better late than never, I guess. Anyway, I want to use this video to discuss me finding out how I was gay to some degree and how I finally found my true self. I'm hoping this video can maybe help someone out there realize something about themselves and maybe lead them towards discovering who they really are and that their feelings are a-okay. Also, quick note, I do dive into some discussions about adults, themes, and topics. Nothing too bad, just wanted to give y'all a heads up. So without further ado, let's dive on in. So just to preface this part, up until like 20, I thought I was straight. So all of this was blissfully ignored by yours truly. The earliest example that I can remember was in 5th grade. There was this kid I went to school with named Benjamin. Now him and I hung out a lot in school and such, and we were always chilling and laughing and having a good time. Looking back now, I always felt weird around Ben, like floaty. But of course, being a kid, I didn't know any better, and talking about being gay was simply unheard of back then. So alas, I ignored this and just thought of him as a wonderful friend of mine. Fun fact actually, we ran into each other in like 2020 right before COVID. He's a bartender at a bar I used to go to a lot with my friends. We kind of reconnected and such. That being said, I highly doubt he watches my videos, but if he does, hey-o Ben, we should grab a drink sometime. Heck, even the girl I did have feelings for back then was rough and tough and more quote-unquote tomboyish, and I very much remember that being what I liked about her. Of course, I use feelings lightly because once again, I was in elementary school. I don't distinctly remember crushing on any guys in middle school. Middle school was a f***ing weird time for me in all honesty. Middle school was the first time I heard about furries actually, but it was described to me in a very negative thing, though I've talked about this before. Middle school was the first time I really started dating, and I dated a few girls off and on throughout this time. But yeah, looking back, this was probably the most heterosexual period of my life. High school. Oh boy, freshman year was my first real exposure towards the concept of being gay, and that it was possible for people of the same gender to love each other and to be in relationships. I met 2 gay guys my freshman year, one of which I almost kissed but chickened out because I'm a straight guy. We also got to talk about the unsavory part of the internet at this point in the video because that did play a role here. The adult side of things. Anyways, yeah, I played a lot of Pokemon, and Pokemon has stuff online, and I discovered a lovely site through just looking up Pokemon info. I'm sure you've heard of it. Rule 34? Boy, this stuff makes me feel weird inside. I bet this won't come into play later. Anyways, that's not the point of this part at all, but discovering and viewing adult content led me to discover gay adult content, and boy did that appeal to me. That made the weird fluttery feelings come back, and they were in full swing. God, how did I think I was straight for so long? I also want to clarify, this is not me saying exploring your sexuality through adult sites is a good thing. It was a bad thing. It was just how I discovered it. Sorry for the awkward tangent. I swear that's the only time we talk about that sort of thing. Anyways, towards the end of freshman year, I started dating they identified as a girl at the time, because to be honest, the non-binary identity didn't really exist back then around where I grew up. So at the time, girl, but has since come out as non-binary. Anyway, them and I started dating, and we dated all throughout high school, college, and for a long time. Actually, up until I came out, which is part of what made coming out so difficult. Oh boy, college! College is a time for a lot of people to discover themselves. It's a time where people truly come into their own and learn about who they are, be it sexuality, gender, politics, and more. Freshman year wasn't really eventful, but sophomore year is when I started to really realize, and it was when I met a guy who's actually still a really great friend of mine. We were in the same ensemble and bonded over both playing Pokemon and saxophone, and over time we became really close. Too close. We moved in together with a 3rd friend junior year, and I've talked about it, but it was lit. Loved living with those 2 goons. 10 out of 10, I would do it again. Anyways, back to the one guy. I was, developing feelings fast and didn't know what to do or how to feel about these feelings. It was summer between living at home and with my 2 friends that I came out as bisexual and started exploring that side of me and those feelings I had. This was also when I started looking into the furry community in a positive scope, and this definitely helped me realize my attraction towards guys. Anyways, it all kind of came to a head winter of my junior year. I confessed how I felt to him, and he said he didn't feel the same way. Says he's straight. But yeah, I kinda didn't back down, and I was a really bad friend after that. I pushed boundaries when I shouldn't have and made him a bit uncomfortable in the process. I know him and his fiancée sometimes watch my videos, so if you're seeing this, I'm so sorry for how I acted then, and I'm glad we stuck together as friends. Anyways, that was the first major crush on a guy I've ever had, and it was an explosion of new feelings and experiences, one that would stick with me for a bit. This was also the first time I confessed to some friends that I thought I might be fully gay, and they assured me and I convinced myself I wasn't. Boy, were we wrong. So that attraction slowly faded, and over time I shoved those feelings back in the closet, up until recently in 2021. In 2020 and 21, I really started looking at myself, who I was, and what I was attracted to. I was slowly realizing that my romantic attraction towards girls had all but faded, and I was really only looking at guys with interest, and over time this became only stronger and more apparent. The more I thought about guys, be it hugging, kissing, the other stuff, the more my heart fluttered, and I got butterflies. So in September, at the ripe age of 24, I officially came out as gay. It hasn't been easy since then. I traded a lot of security and safety for a mere feeling I had, and I hadn't done so much as kissed a guy at that point, so this was a huge leap. Looking back though, I'm glad I did, and I know it was the right decision. I know this is an accepting community already, but from the bottom of my heart, thank you all for accepting me, and accepting that part of me. It means more than you'll ever know that I can come on here and make silly little gay jokes and talk about guys and other stuff, and y'all are just cool with it. It warms my heart. I want to take a moment to talk about what's been going on in the US and why teaching about LGBTQ stuff is really important. A big argument they have is teaching the kids about this stuff early is indoctrinating them, and that couldn't be farther from the truth. Like I said before, I've always had those feelings. I didn't get indoctrinated into being gay, and I didn't get taught to be gay. The only thing I learned on my own was that those feelings I had were okay and valid to have. I hate how I learned this, but better late than never, I guess. That being said, things could have been much different had I learned earlier. Had I been taught that those feelings are normal and okay to have, maybe I would have come to terms with it sooner. Maybe I would have hated myself a little less for having these feelings. Who knows? We've come a long way in terms of teaching about LGBTQ and equality, but there's still a long way to go, and there's many people standing in the way of that progress. I can only hope that one day they realize the hurt they're causing towards people who want to be unapologetically themselves and are just trying to survive in this world like everyone else. So, some advice. Number 1, explore your feelings. Whatever feelings you have towards whatever gender is valid. Do you feel more feminine than masculine? Try out she, her. I did behind the scenes, and it's how I know I'm not trans, because I was able to explore that. Number 2, find resources online that correlate to how you're feeling. There's many resources that I didn't have as a kid to help you find yourself, and find others who may be going through the same thing you are. Look around and find those people, but please be safe. There are also some awful people who will try and take advantage of your insecurities and uncertainty, so please exercise caution when being in online spaces, especially if you're a minor. Last but not least, don't use adult sites to figure this stuff out. A lot of the conventional adult sites frame being gay, lesbian, or trans as more of a fetish or a purely sexual thing, and that's not a good first impression to have of these things. This was my first exposure to the concept of trans people existing, and considering most of the videos had a slur in the title, that should tell you enough on how horrible the first impression was for me. So we're to the end of the video. If you've come out and are living your best life, I'm proud of you. Remember that you are loved and valid, no matter what those around you may say. If you're still in the closet for whatever reason, that's absolutely okay as well. Be it safety or you're not ready to come out yet, you are just as valid and loved, and I hope one day you feel safe enough to live your life to the fullest as your true self. And if you're in the beginning of your journey of self-discovery, know that you're not alone. Feelings of love and coming into your own are already weird enough, so having to worry about gay feelings or gender troubles on top of it can really mess with you. Just know that you have time to process it all, and to find your true self. I'm rooting for you. Anyways, that's all for today. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!